Hello, residents of Riot City. My name is Sean Fewster, and I'm the wordsmith here at RCW. And we're here today for the RCW wrap-up show for PowerTrip. And look who we have here. It's Kurt Barron. How you doing, Kurt?
Yes, my name is Kurt Barron, and I'm a cocky little prick because I won my match tonight. Give me that. Move over. This is, as Kurt said, the RCW wrap-up show, and our other guest this evening is Chompin' Cadie Tré.
This is too confusing. I'm seeing 4 Seans right now.
You know what? We all know I do you better than you do you, so I don't even need this.
Kurt, when did you get here?
Cadie, obviously you're suffering some after effects. You were, of course, in our first match tonight against Jet Armstrong. That was a hellacious encounter to kick off PowerTrip.
You know what? You're right, Sean. I mean, and to be honest with you, lately I've been feeling a little bit bloated because I was, as the Pariah would say, I'm a little bit spaghetti and meatballs. So it's nice. It's nice to have a nice clean meal like Jet Armstrong.
You couldn't really get much cleaner. He is a bit of a health nut.
That is true. That is true, Sean.
Kurt, the Armstrongs have torn it up through RCW over many years. Now I'm thinking that you and your Seamen crew probably are convinced you're better.
Well, I resent you calling us the Seamen. That's actually not an approved name. I actually don't like that name. Look, the Armstrongs, they're really special. They're really good talents. They're no skyscraper, but, you know, they're making a couple waves, and good for them.
Our second match saw an old friend of yours, Cadie Tré, Toro, take on the former RCW champion, Davie Green.
Look, I'm just happy for Davie Green to get a... Wait a minute. Davie Green didn't even win that match, did he?
Unfortunately not.
Well, that changes the whole perspective of this thing. I mean, here I am thinking that Davie Green, a former RCW champion, got a pinfall like I did over Tony Toro, that snake Tony Toro. That changes the whole perspective. But you know what? Davie Green is a tremendous athlete. You would agree?
Absolutely.
Agree?
Sure.
It doesn't matter what you think. Anyway, Davie Green, tremendous athlete. Tony Toro, snake. It's a shame that Davie Green lost, but it's good to know that he will come back stronger.
They were the first runs on the board for your unapproved name Seaman team, with Tony Toro taking that victory.
Tony Toro is the future of professional wrestling, okay? Not only is he absolutely gorgeous to look at, but he is jacked to the gills.
Gorgeous to look at?
Yes, you heard me correctly. All right, I see big things in the future of Tony Toro, and he is a very smart man to side with Jimmy C and not, blokes who wear dog collars.
It's in case I get lost, you peanut.
Speaking of Jimmy C, he's been a thorn in the side of Tyler Daniels for several months, trying to convince Tyler to do his dirty work. Tonight was no exception, where he forced the difference into a match against Hammer's friend, Tuffy Calhoun.
Tyler Daniels, look, I have a bone to pick with Tyler Daniels. But
oh, really?
Yes, really. He smashed a keyboard into my head the last time that we met.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You ended up with the letter C embedded in your forehead.
That was really funny. You should do comedy instead of journalism. Yeah. Oh, that's all I've got to say.
I wish it was all you had to say. Tuffy Calhoun, a competitor that will not back down, but against the difference, even that wasn't enough.
Tuffy. Tough. Love the guy. He's my boy. But obviously, you saw tonight, he fell short to the difference, Tyler Daniels. But, you know, Tuffy's not the kind of guy that quits. He's the guy that gets up, he dusts himself off, and he gets back to work. And that's exactly what Tuffy's going to do. Tyler, he can go either way. The guy's been doing this for, 14 years? He can keep going as long as he likes. But Tuffy, that's the man you keep your eye on.
Fell short is the operative words there.
In the first of our main events, it was a triple threat tag team match between the PCW tag team champions, the Pariah, the Rude Ones, the former RCW tag team champions, and the current RCW champions, your mates, the Millennials.
My mate? You know what? I'm getting sick of the bloody Pariah. Right? Every time they come out, they could do anything and the crowd just explodes. What is so appealing about the Pariah? Now, the Millennials, they are what you should be watching out for. They are proven athletes, and they have good heads on their shoulders.
They ran for the hardware as soon as they couldn't win that match and made sure that they got the entire match thrown out as a no contest.
They're intelligent, okay? It's not running away, it's tactically retreating.
Cadie, we saw the Pariah and the Rude Ones come very close to taking those tag team belts from the Millennials. The Millennials made a desperation play, no matter what certain building-sized objects would tell you. Then we saw Big Brodie Marshall come out with the hardware as well and lay down a massive challenge for RCW 200.
Look, the Pariah winning the tag team belts, good. You know, these are the new guys that are coming up. It's exactly what this company needs, and I think you'd agree too. Right?
Absolutely.
The Rude Ones, they're seasoned veterans in RCW. They're two-time RCW tag team champions, if I'm correct.
You are correct.
The Millennials, but we have to say, James Cray taking not just a ladder to the head, a chair shot to the gut, and a table, that alone has to give him some sort of credit.
Yeah, I mean, what have you guys done with James Cray from here? Have you, scooped him into a little bucket and sent him back to England?
James Cray is a trooper, and he is one of the most important assets to not only the Millennials, but the Seamen.
You said it, not me.
Yeah, whatever. Look, James, he's going to get back up, because that's what he does. He's the technical wizard, and he's going to be just fine.
Millennials are going to need to be at full strength for RCW 200 as we see a TLC match between Gods and Monsters, the Millennials, the Rude Ones, and the Pariah. The next match, well, kind of suffered from imposter syndrome, didn't it?
Are you alluding to the fact that I did you better than you do you? Is that what you're saying?
I'm alluding to the fact that you stole my jacket, put that ridiculous cap on, and sauntered down to the ring like you're all that.
Well, that was actually a very accurate portrayal of someone that I really don't respect. So, I mean...
I'm so surprised to hear you don't respect me.
Oh, well, there you go. You're a smart guy.
Respect me?
Not particularly.
Nonetheless, the skyscraper Kurt Barron took on the former RCW champion Big Brodie Marshall, and you had a tough fight on your hands with Brodie.
Yeah, but I won. I beat Big Brodie Marshall. Remember when he was being called too big to break? How about too tall to fall? How about that, Brodie?
Cadie, I think it might have been too unwary to not get low-blowed and rolled up while I was distracted.
You know, I did see that. Sean. And Kurt, these methods that you use, it's not practical.
If you were a winner and not a loser, then you'd understand what I did.
Cadie's on a winning streak.
Yeah, but no one cares.
I care.
Thank you, Sean.
I'm sure many of the residents care as well. Speaking of winning streaks, Rocky Monero, A-Town's finest, the stepfather of professional wrestling in Australia, continued his streak against a very game competitor, the South African superstar Stephen Miller. This was an absolute classic.
You know, with Grim being on hiatus, it's good to see some stern, hard, stiff chops.
And of course, chops are in South Africa considered a sign of absolute disrespect, which is why Miller fired back and started targeting the previously injured bicep of Rocky Monero.
Well, I don't know anything about that.
What a shock.
Funny. But Stephen Miller, let me tell you something. He's been away for a while now. He comes back, he's in phenomenal form.
He really is.
I mean, and to take Rocky Monero to the limit like that, you've got to give the kid props.
You absolutely do. And wait a minute, did we just agree on something?
Nope.
Did you just become best friends?
No. We certainly did not. No. And in our main event, we saw Nick Armstrong and Zach Sabbath team up against Chris Basso and Hammer. And for a while there, it looked like Hammer might actually unlock his key to the city option.
You know, with that option, you know, you've got to take any chance you can get. And in an opening like that, you know, why not just take the chance?
But instead, Hammer showed what sort of man he was and teamed up with Chris Basso in a winning effort against the self-proclaimed Champ and the Dark Prince.
Well, congratulations to Hammer, because that is the last win that he is going to get in the very near future, because at RCW 100...
200.
That's what I meant, 200. I'm going to put the tool back on the shelf.
Do you even know what you mean when you say that?
Yes, I'm going to beat Hammer. And that's it.
So what we're looking at is potentially you becoming the key to the city holder.
Yeah, you're right, actually. And you know what? I might just cash in on that very night. Would you like that, Sean?
Do you know what I'd like?
Yeah? What?
I'd like to see you lose that match so that Jimmy C was no longer the general manager of Riot City Wrestling. What do you think, Cadie Tré?
I think that would open up a lot of opportunities for myself. Yeah, absolutely, Sean.
And you know, Kurt, if you think about it, that might open up some opportunities for you as well.
Oh, opportunities for me.
Absolutely. I mean, where was your RCW title shot in the last 12 months while Jimmy C's been in charge?
Jimmy and I are talking.
Where was your tag team championship opportunity over the last 12 months while Jimmy was in charge?
I'm not a tag team wrestler.
But you were at the start.
I'd rather forget about that.
All I'm saying, and Cadie, you might agree with me here, all I'm thinking is, for a guy that has backed Jimmy C this long and supported Jimmy C this long, you would think that he'd be getting a little more consideration out of this whole arrangement, wouldn't you?
I just hope he's paying you well enough. I mean, you're getting the... I'll be considerate, the poopy end of the stick.
You know, he's the one being led around by a dog collar rather than you.
Well, that's not cool.
Yeah, Kurt, I mean, do you really think that this is your last chance to impress Jimmy C and actually prove that you deserve the sort of accolades that your physique and your skill actually lend to?
I can see what you're doing, Sean. You're trying to drive a wedge between me and Jimmy, and it's not going to happen.
I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just pointing out to you the fact that you haven't had the sort of opportunities you'd expect from the number one guy for the general manager.
The fact is that my opportunity comes at RCW 200. Hey, that's the fact.
You got it right that time. RCW 200.
Well done.
Residents, thank you for joining us for the RCW wrap-up show. I've been Sean Fewster with Cadie Tré and my imposter Kurt Barron. We'll see you at RCW 200.